Leaf is just 80 miles north of here, so this is essentially our backyard, and we are really happy to be supporting LA County and our neighbors as they're working through this disaster.
Make sure to visit directrelief.org for more information on how you can get involved and help those affected by the recent LA fires. Now we're locking in for our second match of the day, the upper bracket semis between Team PEPS and Qadsiah. Of course, I'm not doing it alone. Jake and Johnny are helping me to break it all down. Now, here is our current bracket. VP, a dominant first showing here in the playoffs. And now they're waiting in the upper bracket final for the winner of this very next match. This is, of course, again, a rematch. In week 1, PEPS ran all over Qadsiah. 3-0 was the score in their opening match. But if we're using transitive properties, Qadsiah played it closer versus VP than PEPS did, and therefore they are the better team. I don't know. Neither method seems to be able to tell us a story that could unfold today, because we're finding ourselves in a different kind of meta. If we're looking back, the first time those two teams met, they obviously played a lot of Hazard. Qadsiah did ban Maga on Samoa against Team PEPS, so there's definitely a fear of what Team PEPS can do with a Maga. What do we expect to see from PEPS? Is that something they will be leaning in on heavily today?
I mean, I think Team PEPS has shown a lot of flexibility with Exodial having a huge matchup here today. I think the Sojourn duel is going to be something to really have your eyes on, but Exodial's been one of the most exciting young players in EMEA. So the Sojourn, I think, is a huge attribute. We saw, like, in that last series, how important they were to securing opening picks and, like, turning difficult team fights. Honestly, though, for both teams, I think this is going to be a pretty significant change up from the way they'd like to play in the past.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Isis played quite a bit of Junker Queen, actually, which, you know, could be a decent matchup into that if you really don't want to play a Mauga. But, like, at the end of the day, like, Mauga is overpowering, comes for all. I do think it's going to come down to the damage players, like Jake said as well. Like Exodial, you know, one of the best hit scan players we've had in the region, and being able to play the Sojourn at such a high level, that's really going to match up well into the Mauga if we see it, right? But that's the big question. Are we going to see the Mauga with these teams? Because neither of these teams have really preferred the Mauga up until this point. So I think this will also be a decent test to see, you know, how prevalent will the Mauga meta be? Will it be like Gala just said? Is it just going to be Mauga all the time? I think this match will prove it to us.
Is Checkmate really playing tank?
I was about to ask.
Probably not.
This might be a mistake. Just throwing off us and everyone watching.
I was gonna say, I was expecting this to be Checkmate on Genji, but you know.
I was about to gas him up.
Checkmate secretly a Mauga main. We just did not know, and he's like, "Sub me and go."
Well, I mean, can Checkmate play Mauga? Probably. Can Siad play Genji?
I mean, can anyone play Mauga? Yeah. Can they play it well? That is a completely different question.
I mean, hitting the crit stomps is so critical on Mauga. I think a lot of people look at Mauga as like a low skill hero, but landing the crit stomp into a kill is like massive game changer. I think Mauga is deceptively more complex in the professional setting than people give it credit for. You know, you think you just hold both triggers all the time. It's like, well, good luck playing against the best players in the world like that. Doesn't tend to go so well.
Okay, their roles put aside though, Qadsiah, I mean, they are coming off of a high, right? They played VP really close in their last match off the stage. Like, that's something you could definitely draw some energy from. It was a 5-map banger. Yeah,
I mean, I think Qadsiah is a team that's improved throughout the stage. You know, they started off, you know, pretty rough, and they took that loss, right? But they've improved throughout and actually gotten better as we get closer to the playoffs. So I think this could be a really interesting weekend for Qadsiah in general. I think, you know, they match up with their damage players, like we talked about, pretty well into this meta as well, where Lambda has pretty much played the Sojourn throughout the entire stage. So if you don't have to deviate now, if you can just keep playing the Sojourn, great, pretty happy with that. And Checkmate is a spectacular Genji player. So if I'm Qadsiah, like, I'm pretty pumped about this meta. Yes, we played a lot of Lucio Kiriko in the past, and we might have to deviate from that. But in general, I think this meta could be decent for Qadsiah.
Well, we're about to find out as we get the first look of both of these teams in their playoff match debut. That made no sense in their first match of the playoffs. Anyway, you know what makes sense? Everything that Jack and Avril are saying. Almost. So let's hand it over to them for our second match here in the EMEA region in our playoffs.
Facts, Zoe, facts. No, it's all good. Look, hey, first day of the playoffs. It's all good. Everybody's been hit by the Mauga Stomp, I feel like, and it's like, oh, we're so back. We're back in this. Okay. Little Genji, little Sojourn. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's been pure Malga so far, Kevin.
To Zoe's credit, the part that has made the least amount of sense is just how much Malga, because even Korea doesn't play this much Malga. Korea is back to a Malga meta, but it's not like perma Malga like this. To the point where, like, you know, we're talking about, is Mag going to go ball here? Servas is a ball map. Is they going to be considered of a ball band? Oh, they can play ball on Dorado and all these kind of things. Maybe we're going to see some swaps, and Vasola could look for a DV here. And it's like, no, nothing matters. That's the part that doesn't make sense. I agree. This is the part that's just super weird. It's all Malga all the time for EU, probably for NA after this as well. I wouldn't be surprised. Have fun, Mitch and Matt. But what we're really looking at is the fact that Korea not only played Malga, but also figured out Malga counters like all at the same time. And there's plenty of them. Ana is one of them. Bastion is one of them. Fun fact, Bastion's copying real bans in Korea right now. You can also, via bans, start targeting the Malga enablers. Malga himself, Juno, Brig, these are some enablers. Until you see these things, it's got to be Malga. You need to start seeing teams actually start banning Malga as well.
You have piqued my interest with the Bastion, sir, I will say. Lil Lucio ban there, and then a Genji ban on side of Qadsiah. PEPS banning first, of course. No Lucio for PEPS, means FD God can't play that, but pretty well adapted playing a couple other heroes we've seen FD God on recently. Little Juno action hovering right now, but we've seen him on the Alari, seen him on the Brig, of course. But it looks like, unless Team PEPS go for a small change, it's going to be the same old, although Qadsiah, Tor Panzo.
So you are also, by the way, when you get the Lucio ban, obviously players like Haku then default to the Brig. What are you going to play with the Brig? It's going to be Juno Brig for the reason that you're going to combo it with the Malga. Ziad is going to break that hold. So finally, it's not going to be a full Malga mirror. And this was part of the question mark as well. What does Ziad play here? He would like to play the Diva. I don't know what his Malga looks like, but I know he wants to play Diva when he can.
Okay, Ken also on the Echo too. Checkmate's been a very good Torbjorn as well, mind you, but the Torbjorn into the Malga comp, there's so much spam to take out the little turret that's going to be holding an off angle a lot of the time. We'll see how Ziad kind of navigates these fights as well against Ice.
Ken could have probably have gone Echo potentially to counter any possible fire. I don't think Qadsiah, no, actually I'm wrong. Labda is a fire specialist, of course, as well, so there is always that possibility. You might end up seeing Ken potentially look over to swap to Genji at some point. Whether the Torb is somewhat susceptible to an Echo.
Oh, well, there's the first pick. Zerion overstepping, but at least gains a kill. Landon, Zerion down. Point unlocked, of course, as Team PEPS now just turning their attention towards Ziad, who was trying to get a little cheeky in the backline there for a moment, but it looks like Qadsiah are going to cap first, although the stomp kill onto Ziad. I'm not sure this is going to last for all too long.
They need Icenom down. He's got to go down right now. He's still surviving. That's really critical. PEPS can re-engage. In fact, yeah, they just should re-engage right now. Get Icenom healed back in there. Get the retake. Ziad's got over towards Malga. It lasted for about 30 seconds, Jack, until we're back into full Malga mirror. It is what it is. And honestly, and even Qadsiah, they kind of won the first fight. They just couldn't clean up Icenom. I think if they cleaned up Icenom, they'd be much further ahead right now. They could have kept the Diva.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, unfortunately, didn't end up killing him. High ground control now for PEPS is going to be kind of annoying for, especially Checkmate to get into a good position. Looks like they're going to try and wrap coast side. Labda almost taking out Exodial. In fact, his second shot does connect, and Exodial is dead.
Labda first on ult, especially with Exodial down. No supports on ult just yet.
Look at that damage.
Timing something important.
Yeah, overclock available at about 5%. Here's the cap for Qadsiah. Now Labda takes control of this high ground. Looking towards Zerion right now, just perma holding that shield, trying to stop the damage connecting. His FD God filled with holes there by the turret. You saw the turret tracking FD God through the skies. As Qadsiah find the flip, as this has been a very quick back and forth map so far. 24 to 40 in building.
Qadsiah just kind of got that point for free. PEPS let it go. I mean, what was going on here? You had a situation where the cap randomly came on through. Perhaps there was a little bit of an HP issue on Icenom again, but they didn't get to use any ultimates. Qadsiah didn't have to use any ultimates to cap, which is critical. You can't allow Qadsiah just get that forward. No resources spent. As they're about to look at 5 ults, Labda ults himself.
Yep, overclock for Labda, straight into a cage though, laid down by Ice. Orbital Race going to come in from FD God, healing out everybody up and damaging them, but you know what's better than a blade and a cage? Molten Core in cage, Avril. There's one up for you. Checkmate with a couple of kills with a Molten Core in amongst that chaos as they continue to hold the point.
Typically more of an anti-dive kind of hero in this particular meta, but in a more brawly type of situation, might actually be reasonable into the Malga as well. This is the evolution of Korean meta also that you discover. It's like, you know what, Torb is kind of okay in the Malga meta. What's even better might be the Basher here comes the cage.
Oh, Cage ends up coming in and Rally on top as well. Yeah, no chance really for Team PEPS to win this fight. Could be a little bit of a miracle if that does end up coming to fruition, although Haku does end up going down. So actually, turning it on this head completely as Exodio's free to fire from the backline. A double kill for the Sojourn. Bit of a scrappy fight though with both tanks dead, but still Team PEPS trying to push the issue now onto the point. His Checkmate gets the melee kill onto Zerion. Overtime now in session. PEPS do get another retouch there, and it was one of the supports, but Exodio's the one that's coming up with the damage. 2 kills for the Sojourn, but another touch is required. They eventually do get down to the point eventually, but here come the reinforcements, and the Checkmate turret just kind of rolling people in the front line. FD God succumbs to the Omnic, and that will be the round. Now Qadsiah, a 99-24.
Yeah, Exodio killed like 3 there, but they couldn't keep him alive, and then PEPS didn't have the ability to reinforce in time. Labda comes onto the side, he was quite low, doesn't go down. But then it's done. You lose your hyper carry on the Soj with Exodio. Nothing really left to talk about in terms of PEP's ability to hold on to that fight. That went away a little too quick. Still big question mark on the fight where they kind of just allowed the point to roll over and Qadsiah capped it for no resources spent at all. I think that's a pretty critical moment for that particular round as well.
We're seeing the evolution. Here it is. Ken, Torbjorn, and now Qadsiah. Checkmate off the Torb, over to the Pharah this time.
Pharah have enough to work with on this map, on this round. And we talked about this when we were watching the VP game versus Gen G, and it's like you kind of limited slightly, maybe a little bit more ground fire required at various points. Will cause a lot of problems for Ken. It is funny that we've just traded Torbs from Qadsiah over to Team PEPS.
Zerion also jumping into Kiriko here, so we're not seeing the Brig Juno. 2 very high impact support ultimates though. A little bit of defense, you know, with the Suzu and stuff, but nothing compared to something like a rally. This looks like Qadsiah taking a priority position on point. There's the first kill. Labda taking out Exodio from a mile away. As Zerion, sorry, is trying to heal up the front line. Still the point in their favor at the current moment in time, despite losing Zerion super early on. Or Exodio, sorry. 2 X names. Killing me.
Ken low, oof. Down still. That'll be point over finally. Qadsiah been working away on it. Checkmate doing his best right now. With point control, fire improves a lot. Now you can sort of abuse this open space here, play above the opening. They're getting aggressive. They might want to potentially look for a subtle spawn hole, but not going too far in.
Oh, hasn't gone for the double slide either, has Labda. Gone for the disruptor shot sticking to somebody. Oh, and Ken finds a kill onto Landon of all people. Just on this little 2-man flank, Zerion also falls, and there's the return pick. Nice shot from Labda as Ken ends up falling. Checkmate is still super low, but is going to get healed up by this Inspire procs coming through from Haku as he's swinging on Ice Snow. Point does end up getting flipped though.
They're losing the fight and they ended up flipping. That's actually pretty nice from PEPS. FD God now with the reinforcements. Orbital Ray.
Yeah, Orbital Ray and the cage available as well as Ziad now trapped in this small corner. And Orbital Ray late coming through from Landon, but the fight's already over. Ken, FD God, Zerion. They're all filling the kill feed. Team PEPS. Yeah, what a dominant fight there. And Zerion saves this rush too for the next fight.
Yep. You'll notice the timing difference there as well. Landon was just slightly off. I believe Haku's same thing. Didn't quite have their ultimates in time. Team PEPS was able to get the point flip first of all, then regroup straight to FD God's ultimate with Orbital Ray. Now Qadsiah no ability to counterplay and get a frag on the other side, so there's even extra point capture available for PEPS that otherwise they wouldn't have had. It's Cage time for Ziada. Look, there's 4 ults online. Cage plus the option for barrage.
Oh, and the moving barrage. No instant kills, but it's just too much damage, man. That on top of, like, disruptor shots and just the spam coming in from Haku swinging that flail in that cage. Yeah, there's no chance. Team kill for our Qadsiah.
Was even a Kitsune rush being dropped in there at the same time for PEPS as well. So they really wanted to try and hold on to that, but the cage just makes such a huge difference. They need better tools against the cage. What do we have here now? Exodio versus Labda, with, I think, Labda mostly in these neutrals, at least on Volcano, has had the better so far. At least we're seeing his name pop up that much more. Potential for a decent fight from Exodio. What does he see here?
Overclock. Oh, ends up getting dragged in and instantly headshot by Labda. Checkmate taking that implosion perk there to drag him forward a little bit and setting Labda up with a kill.
A little 1, 2, 3. Halt and Rock. 2025 version.
Yeah, actually.
Honking to the rail kind of right click, and it'll do. It's enough. At this point, it's all 66%. Another ultimate being used. Labda in spawn.
Oh, wow. I mean, this is just painful. Oh, there's the explosion again. Not quite. Some coming to it this time. Exodio switches to Widow to try and get a shot, but no. OWCS not granting them a kill. Landon coming back from spawn, so they're going to have to back off the point.
Landon's going to have ult advantage here as well. This is looking really, really nice for Qadsiah. They can engage that as Peps with something like maybe a copy onto the Malga. Double shouts for the Cardiac would be pretty nice here.
High ground control, 14 Peps. Copy is going to be quite important, like you said. We'll see what Ken wants to go for. Probably the Malga. Fire to it. Yes, there it is. Malga, copy. Double Cardiac Overdrive is going to be pretty nice, and going to have to maybe have a little bit more than that, because that Ray is just going to burn him down. There you go. Duplication ended pretty quickly, and so is his normal life. Cages end up coming in on the point now. OT for OWCS. Barrage for checkmating about 5%, but Ziad just stuck in that small corner, and the spam damage comes through. Another... just Cardiac Overdrive, just seeing them through this fight as Team Peps now trying to get some small staggers. Although, I honestly, OWCS just staying in this fight. They're going to be able to get out of this one. Lab just staying alive with the help of Landon.
How long could they do this for? They need the tanks back. They need their players back. Qadsiah really should have just lost that one a little bit more handily. Peps did not get the cleanup required. And this is still Qadsiah, by the way, having the extra...
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, and Barrage and checkmate. Oh, instantly dealt with by Exodio. Oh, the Ray is just... it's just too strong, man. Team Peps, they didn't even need the rush in that fight, and OT is approaching now fast for OWCS.
This time, Peps is ahead. I think that should have been a much better situation for Qadsiah. It was weird that they were even allowed to stay on the point for that long, but they have the double support advantage, timing advantage over Peps. Couldn't quite clean it up. Ziad died too early. Now onto the Diva. They got the touch, but it's 1-for-1.
They do trade 1-for-1, but where's the retouch? Labda with the overclock, and there it is. The rush on the point of 14 Peps. Nice sidelines here for Labda. He finds 2 already in the fight. Labda just takes over the game completely, and a rally on top as well for OWCS. This is going to be a little 2-0 here as well to solve the series, as Team Peps not expecting Lab to just run back in, score 3 kills. That rush should have been the final nail in the coffin, but OWCS finished strong, a 2-0 on Control.
I mean, you really start to see the potential for Qadsiah when they take VP all the way to 5 maps. They had such really nice results coming into this playoffs. I mean, Qadsiah is secretly, I think even behind the scenes when talking to players, they are really talking about Qadsiah being a threat in this playoffs. You're starting to see exactly why. Maybe a little disappointed that they couldn't hold on to the Diva for a bit longer to prevent the Malga mirrors from coming on through, but now that we are still in the Malga mirror, they were able to get a lot of work done, and importantly, Lambda impressed. Exodio should be the biggest threat on the opposite team for Peps, and he certainly was a threat at various times. You can see this clip here, but I think crucially in this clip, if I remember correctly, Lambda didn't end up going down. He kills Exodio and then ends up carrying the remainder of this fight to secure it for Qadsiah. So Lambda has done more than his fair share to not only keep up, but maybe even outperform Exodio, particularly on some of the neutrals here that we saw in Volcano in the second round.
No, Labda has honestly just been so impressive throughout the entirety of Stage 1. Like, he's improved year on year. I think this is a brand new year for Labda, and he's just improved. And look at this survivability too. Just staying alive here, and then landing 2 big initial kills. 2 dead, FD God, and then they have to rely on for Zerion for heals just on the Kiriko. Like, it's so bad when you can just let the Sojourn get away with that. Stats from the last map. 24 deaths to 41. Qadsiah, should be feared at this point. Like you said, especially with that 5-map banger from the other week against VP.
This is a threatening team that I think now has to be considered. I don't know if they would be a favorite just yet, because while VP is still the overwhelmingly favorite, Gen G didn't look as good as you would like for a team of their caliber. Maybe just kind of still dealing with navigating the Malga meta. But Qadsiah, if they can get through the Malga meta comfortably, if Ziad isn't just going to get stuck on a Diva in terms of only being able to play Diva, have the option to play the Malga or the Diva, it'll be really good to see. Sorvasa now going to the next map. That was, I believe, our second map as well in the previous map. And, you know, if there was a ball player here, maybe we talk about there being the potential for the ball, but really,
I'm sorry to break it
back again. I would like to see the potential for either a Malga ban or some sort of Malga related ban, but it also could just be the case that both teams shake hands and say, you know what, similar hero pools, basically going to play the same thing. Like, well, what are we going to do here? You have essentially 2 off-tank players between Ziad and Ice Storm, whatever you ban is essentially going to be banned for both you and your opponents. So there is that factor to consider.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be Perma Malga. As much as I like to see Ziad back on something like the Diva, which is historically being considered a decent counter to the Malga because you can eat a lot of the shots, especially when he pops the cardiac overdrive. I think it's just going to be the mirror. I mean, you heard the interview from the previous series, right? It's like anything else than Malga, maybe.
I can tell you what they could do. Diva plus Ana is genuinely respectable. This is what I think EU is lacking right now compared to Korea. Korea is far more willing to play Ana. It could be because you have guys like Shu, but we even saw from Wei Marker, good old ring winner Marker from Total Mayhem. He did an unbelievable job on the Ana versus Zeta, which Zeta might be the best Malga team in the world right now. Genuinely, they beat Falcons on the Malga. Chris Raccoon actually that last night as well, spoilers, but the point being here is that part of the real capability for teams like Wei and Crazy Raccoon is that they have Ana capable players that can seriously carry on that pick. You know what? The Ana band here kind of speaks to that. I do think these teams need to start trying the Ana in these matchups against the Malga because Malga teams are not running Kiriko. I mean, we did see it in that last map, admittedly. However, it's not normal. Typically, it is Brig and Juno, which means there's no Curry, nothing to really stop the Ana from doing whatever she wants in the map. Unless you ban her.
Peps end up banning her. We saw a ban of Ana last Series 2. You agreed to with the pigeons, Avra. Have you got any facts for us? Rose always comes with a fact, so...
They're a bird.
That's facts, bro. It's so true.
No lies detected. Yo, no lies detected there. Got him.
Facts indeed, my guy.
I was also going to mention...
Go on.
Probably another reason Ken went to Echo is the Genji ban from the last map. Now that he's free from that, Genji being available once more should be definitely on board. I think Ken Genji is certainly the signature here. And when you look at where the PEPS lineup is, I don't want to get baited by this. Surely not. No. Zerion probably will swap here as well. Is it speed team out? Then swap. Oh, the Curie. Okay, they really don't. They've nearly completed the 5 heroes required, but just both teams are off by 1. I don't mind the Pharah here, as I talked about when Top Dragon was here. I just don't think he particularly played it well. Let's see if Checkmate can do better on the Pharah.
2 very high impact ults as well to win fights. That Rush and the Ray. Point unlocks in a couple of moments, but really nice point for the Pharah, like you were mentioning earlier on, but you have to be so careful right now of the Sojourns. It only takes a little tickling of damage, then a headshot and you're dead. And look how much Ziad is taking, by the way. Almost down to like under 10% HP. Has to use the overrun to get away. And yeah, Labs is the first to fall.
That means they can't have any point control. They abandon it because Ziad also dies before getting healed. Landon can't transfer any of that damage into an orbital ray advantage. It's at least something we were able to see Crispy do in our last series here. Qadsiah just kind of have to cop the L early. Checkmate even swapping over Ziad, swapping as well. So they want to go for the Genji, but they don't want the Malga. I'm here for it. Unfortunately, there's no Ana. If you could play the Diva and Ana here, it would be nice.
Yeah, nice nano targets too, like the Diva and / Orc Genji, right? It's so tough to kind of deal with. Those backlines are going to be rather flimsy. But they're really sticky to actually get down, to be fair. I mean, look at, or slippery even. FD God and Zeren with a high mobility.
Landon trying to catch up. Reminder, Landon did die the last fight, so the fact that he's even close to FD God here is impressive. But it will be PEPS double supporters. Haku really far behind.
Ziad in. Checkmate trying to go for a small flank. Oh, it takes so much damage in the mega health pack. Not quite there just yet. It's actually Labbed once again, coming up with the goods for our Qadsiah. Nice headshot onto FD God, but overtime is approaching. 5 health on Zerion. Ends up going down. 4 pops the Rush. And they're just going to go and be happy with that fight and just, hey, we'll go next. We got ults.
That's a lab to show for you. I mean, this is a situation where really we expected FD God to be able to have that orbital ray in time. Perfect targeting coming through the lab to taking down the Juno. Ziad lost his mech. Imagine a situation where Labda isn't getting those kills. Ziad still gets demeched. The fight's over. Goes the way of PEPS. And things are looking really good for PEPS. 1-0 up in this particular map. But now, bit of a reset here. And most importantly, it would normally take a team like Qadsiah to use ults to get that flip. They didn't have to use anything. That was just raw picks.
Oh, there's the overclocks. Look at the high ground control though from Labda. Double tapping Exodial. Easy does it. 3 kills for Labda. I mean, absolutely on fire right now. I'm telling you, man, year after year, it feels like Labs is just improving.
He's evolving. I mean, you think he's a bit of a just a fire, one trick maybe, sometimes off rolls to the back, kind of a weird hero pool, and now kind of schooling Exodio in this matchup. 2 maps in a row. Last map it was like a little bit more 50-50, maybe like in there, but now he's dominating.
Early cage, self-destruct in the middle of the cage as well. Someone's going to run. They're pushing it around the corner too. Catches Ken. Blade popped by Checkmate. And now Qadsiah nearing OT. And that should just be the point too, especially with Ice going down. A very proactive play there from our Qadsiah, and they end up capping first.
This is 0 to 100 comeback as well. Zerion now. See what they're going to do. Okay, is this a...
No way. Okay, do they get D-Mech? Surely not. No, they don't. Okay. That was...
Oh, I see what they're doing. It was Ice going hog to try and maybe hook somebody in, because potentially Qadsiah just...
I mean, they hooked the ad, to be fair. They almost got D-Mech.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, back to action. Unfortunately, FD God didn't get a chance to use ultimate in that last fight. Pretty critical. Once more, you'll have noticed. Lambda on board is pretty large carry every single fight we see here.
Orbital Ray, they use right FD God as soon as they see Ziad just jump into the back line. Now Qadsiah just not wanting any of that smoke, using that defensive matrix to absorb all that damage, but Ziad's going to go there to actually touch, and the D-Mech's going to come through. Remember, self-destruct was used that last fight, so no opportunity for a remake as Ice tries to lock down this main choke point. Landon and Lambda are going to get the job done, though, finding a couple of kills, and Ice just kind of wondering what happened to the rest of his team.
Ziad goes down, but it doesn't matter. Checkmate with 3 here. Lambda sets it up. He goes down, but Checkmate is still alive. The DPS of Qadsiah saving these situations. Ziad's, he's had enough of getting D-Mech. He has succumbed back to the Malga, and they are on the right comp. Both teams now have given up any of the other different picks between the Kiriko, between the Fire, anything strange. It is just on the pure 5 as you see it on screen for the Malga mirror. The standard.
I feel like it was a guilty pleasure watching Cage Blades happen, I'm not going to lie. We're close, we're about 50% of the way there for Team Peps. Early use of this overclock. It's slowly starting. Nice headshot there by Lambda, couldn't quite get the kill. Nice counter charge there, perfect stuff in fact. Coming through from Ziad, gets the counter charge on Ice, knocks him to the ground, and there's no help at all. Now Qadsiah almost find a team kill. Ken getting staggered slightly, and there's the final kill.
I think that's actually the point as well. I don't think Ken will be able to respawn in time. Peps at minimum, or most I should say, is going to go for a 4v5. Okay, Ken caught them away with Exodial.
They're going early.
I still think they're too far away. It's 90%. They can't touch.
Oh, counter. Yeah, even with that counter charge, there's no one there to actually touch. And I gotta say, Avril, like, Qadsiah's really proactive fights, especially when they're around 85 to 90%. I really like them. It forces the comp without a Lucio to try and rotate quicker than they need to.
Yeah, I think if you had a DPS alive, let's say Ken didn't die last and he died first, he has a good chance of touching. In that case, Ziad would not want to make that play. So Qadsiah have the potential to maybe bite off a bit more. They can shoot and just go towards spawn. And I've seen that cost teams before, so have to be very careful you're tracking the spawns correctly. Going into this next neutral, by the way, 4 ults for Peps, not quite that many for Qadsiah. This is the opportunity for Peps to get an early neutral win.
Try and put themselves on the map currently. Exodio's trying his best, but look at that rally, that shield just being such a nuisance for him. Even now trying to look for the off angle, but Lab just got that overhealth from the rally, so Exodio cannot challenge. Cage ends up coming in. Here comes the blade. Oh, double blade, in fact, and Ken's already found one. Checkmate trying to lock down the enemy Genji, but the deflection is just too much from Ken. Damage already done. Cage blade secure the team fight for Team Peps, and they get the point as well.
Checkmate really wanted to get in there despite the fact that Ziad didn't have Cage, already went down 99%. The Cage difference there really makes the difference for Ken, I believe. So Team Peps, as we talked about, they had 4 ultimates, they used 4 ultimates. So ultimate advantage was definitely expended. Would have been nice to see them save a little bit of something. Zerion still slightly further away. It's a free Cage, and it's a catch.
Cage, 3 people in it right now. You see Exodio trying to just chew through that health for the Cage, and they do end up killing it eventually, but at what cost? I'll tell you, it was Ken and Isognome's life. Qadsiah find the flip.
Just before Zerion is able to find that ultimate as well, so no situation where they could maybe outplay the Cage. Many of those members obviously don't want to play in the Cage. There's just nothing to really do there for Team Peps. Qadsiah is able to at least get a pretty decent flip. Saving this time. This is the big difference here. You notice that Peps had to burn 4 ultimates in their particular fight. Here, Qadsiah will do it just with a solo Cage. Obviously, Peps had nothing to respond with. That would be the key difference. But having Lambda and Landon here in a good position, I mean, they could potentially just win the next fight off 1 ult alone.
They're going to use the overclock super early. Qadsiah with very proactive plays. A lot of damage right now. Getting sent towards Ice. They're just going to continue to go, though. There's the counter stun. Straight on both the Malgas. Here comes the orbital raid from Landon, but Ziad's already dead. But will it actually matter? Zerion did end up pulling the rush, but Landon, Checkmate, and Haku, they're just in the mix. They're using that raid to its full potential. And even now, 85% of building. Qadsiah, they're going to be able to get the cap.
I think the map's over. No, the map might just be over. Ice Storm is not going to respawn in time.
FD God might be able to get the touch. 99%. He gets on the touch, but is it actually enough? FD God needs to be able to stay alive. But look, the chase is going to come through. FD God ends up going down. Next touch is required. A kill onto Labd is good, but where is it? A blade. There's nothing. There's nothing they can do. Another proactive team fight from Qadsiah. And that map was over in a blink of an eye. Series point already against Team PEPS.
The only thing that I thought was maybe a little bit too far was the super early pop on the overclock, where I think you might want to bait the other team a little bit further in, but really well noted is that, okay, we did pop the overclock early, but we are not seeing a full retreat out of Team PEPS. Is it possible now that we can also pop the orbital ray and get an advantage here? The best part of how that fight went was obviously the orbital ray carried them through huge ultimate for that fight, but Ice Storm was the last to die. That is the most critical member to end up staggering. I don't know if they staggered them on purpose. Probably not. You just want to get them all down and out as soon as you can. But if you were to stagger one person and you accidentally staggered the tank, that is what is required for PEPS to go for the touch and actually contest. Did the Lucio of FD God touch? Yes. Can they win the fight off that? Unlikely. Ice Storm is going to take so long to get back into the fight from spawn that it's considerable player advantage in the actual fight on the point for Qadsiah. And you need to see further touch as well, which is what happens. Team PEPS, they went for further touches, but it doesn't matter because they're just solo staggering one by one. FD God even dies afterwards. That's why I said he needs to live, because if he gets the touch, lives, and somehow they can just move on one by one, just slowly continuing the countdown, the OT, and then wait for Ice Storm to come back. That is then PEPS having the 5v5. Short of that, though, it's over. And that's why when I saw Ice Storm dying, it's like 80%. I said, I think the map's done. It's done.
Qadsiah. Proactivity is the word of the day. I mean, look, they end up pushing over and over again at around 80 to 90%, fighting them completely off of point, forcing Team PEPS to, okay, we still got to win this fight. We have to maybe pop an ult because we have to win this fight quick because we're so far away from the point. We've got the speed ring, sure, but we've probably used that also to get out of spawn, and you're just left in a catch-22 situation. We have to fight and win, but we have to burn ults, but we also have to touch. It's just so difficult for them to do that.
I also think I'm not really feeling the Kiriko in this particular matchup. I think the Brig, especially in those tight melee situations, the Inspire healing for the entire team makes a huge amount of difference. Kiri can't keep up with that, especially now when you can get the 7-second Inspire as well. Easy to proc. You're in melee anyway. Free whip shot on the Malga if you like, or anybody. Yeah, it's just free healing. The crit healing on the packs as well is insane. I just don't think Kiriko can keep up with any of that. And is the ultimate of Qadsiah Rush good? It is good. Rally's not bad though.
If you're like a rally when you're that close.
If you're all grouped up, in rally range, you're getting like perfect rally value, you know. So I do think the Brig is more correct here, and Zerion maybe needs to reconsider this a little bit.
We'll have to see what they end up going towards in the next map, but is this just a 3-0? Like, our Qadsiah just running through Team PEPS here?
You think FD God is the one that's maybe a little unwilling to play the Brig? Because it usually would be, I suppose, Brig Juno.
I mean, FD God has played it in the past. He's not unfamiliar with Brig, you know.
Yeah, because I don't think Zerion is a Brig player, right? I think most Flexiports are not Brig players. I don't know Zerion's here for what to say.
In Overwatch, like, you just have to play. You have to be able to play, especially with double flexes being so strong. Like, you just have to play the Brig as well. Like, it's not just a...
Yeah.
You have to be able to do it.
So,
I mean,
either way, one of them is not playing the Brig. One of them is not wanting to play the Brig, and that may be an issue here in the mirror.
I mean, we don't have to play Brig anymore. Qadsiah banned it. So there you go. Team PEPS end up banning the Torbjorn going onto Route 66.
I'll tell you what, this is great because now we're starting to target some of the extremities around the Malga comp. 3 maps in, 6 bans deep. Our first Malga-related, not even a full Malga ban, just an indirect Malga-related ban, because this is one of the Malga neighbors, as we've talked about. Or what we're going to see is PEPS or we're just going to see Peps play the Kiriko again because, well, the Brig is banned. They don't need to play the Brig, as you say, and then both teams going to have to play, or might want to potentially play the Malga comp with the Kiriko instead. But as we look at this on Route 66, right now, no hovers on Malga.
Damn. Route 66 is the map to break it, huh? I'm here for it. Okay. No Brig at all. No Torbjorn. Got Anna back in the mix, though.
I just realized Gibraltar's not on your pool. This
It
is
is
the thing.
not. This is so
Korea
sad.
has Gibraltar, so Gibraltar actually would have been the Malga backbreaker. But
Maybe
you guys got to add that in your pool, man. You got to add it in your pool. That's what you need.
Yeah,
But-
I'll get right on that, bro. Don't worry. I'll put it in with the big boss upstairs.
I know you're good mates with the big man. He'll listen
Of
to you.
course. Of course.
Has
Right,
it in
FD
play.
God back on the Lucio. Zerion on the Kiri here. Very early first forward hold, of course, from Qadsiah. Kind of classic, but checkmate extremely low.
A 1-for-1 trade. Definitely is going to favor Team Peps here. I do not believe Qadsiah can stay in this any longer. Have to start backing up before you get staggered. Any staggers here can cost you a lot of time and space, especially if it's the Diva. And it's
Yeah,
the
they might
Diva.
get to... Oh, they desuit too. Although, you know, you want to kill them quick. You want to get the payload going, but only one survivor there by the looks of it. And it's Haku gets away on the Lucio.
They all will catch the same wave, so not too much lost here, but you do see one of the main things you do lose is positioning on the map where high ground fully taken by Ice Nom. I think Peps will hold that. Qadsiah, this retake might be a little uncomfortable. Payload's already moved a decent distance.
Farah pick up here from Checkmate 2. Still taking a lot of damage, even just peeking around Big Earls. FD got dead though, and of course at the hands of Labda. Just pick after pick after pick. This guy just does not miss.
Is it enough? 3, now 2 players remaining for Peps. Okay, they're back. Obviously, Qadsiah losing Landon, but that's a fast hero. They're okay with that one. Aku doesn't even need to go back for the taxi. Might be a little bit difficult considering the Zerion has found ult, so this is the timing now. Peps, if they know that Landon's not here, now's a good time to go.
Yeah, they got the rush, and it looks like Qadsiah kind of waiting for this to happen. They were all on this high ground currently. Checkmate's done so much damage near in this barrage too. He did end up swapping as well, mind you. But look how everybody low everybody is as well. Like, nobody just gets sniped from across the map. Everybody was so low, just carrying behind that big sign. Checkmate ends up getting traded here, but Lapta is in such a good spot with his overclock. Soundbayer comes through from FD Gods. He had creating a lot of space for that self-destruct. And now Lapta's basically free to do whatever he wants. Ken ends up going down as well. Oh, Qadsiah just shutting out Peps completely here on first.
I mean, Peps just don't want to use their advantage. I don't know if they didn't realize they had a timing, but what they should know is they killed Landon. He's still coming back from spawn. There is a potential there, even if all you're doing is really hard forcing positioning on the high ground. Maybe the difficulty is like, where do you actually put the Kiriko Kitsune rush? Because you need to impact high ground. You can't just put it on the ground and hope for the best.
They're going to go early again. Now Qadsiah popping the Ray and Ice. No way near the team. There's only 2 people on the point right now. There's not going to be a C9 potential. Too many. Oh my god. What was that? I mean, just hazard moment, I guess. Haku got one shot by Ice. And, yes, Ziad's there with a cleanup on Ken, but that might have done it. Barrage does have connecting with Ice, but these kills, they're not coming through quickly, so there will be an extra stagger here from Ziad, but can he hold on long enough?
Haku needs to get back in. It's a 2-man B, but I think on the Baby Diva doesn't catch the mech. That's not going to be good enough, but it will at least allow them to retake. FD got down. Lambda's important here. It is enough. Ziad might be able to get mech back, but they've saved the point. And now it's less than 1 minute.
Ziad does end up going down though, so no tank available whatsoever. Couldn't even remech, sadly, for Qadsiah. Labs are also pretty low, and they're just going to let that one go completely. No one willing to touch that point. All right, quick reset onto second now.
So important that Haku goes down in that particular fight just before the final recontest, because he had the extra sound barrier that would have carried them through. But like you sort of said, just kind of one shot by Ice Nom and kind of ridiculous damage coming through. People kind of forgetting that Hazard is pretty much still playable, countered largely by things like Torb and Sim, but really speaks to the fact that they banned Torb, which enables the Hazard a lot more. Ice Nom not back to the Hazard. He's on Diva. It's fine. Good point for Diva to be played here anyway.
All right, checkmate. Him and Ziad are just going to have to die the backline. They've been so proactive. We see it. The same could be said here. Rush available, obviously, 14 Peps, but Slowly but surely just trying to take space on this point. Eventually, Ziad will end up touching, and there comes the rush. Okay, Ziad should be able to get away, but same can't be said for Land, who just gets chased down by Ken. Self-destruct on high ground, doesn't connect with anybody, but Team Peps still moving the point. 3 people on it currently as Qadsiah just losing all this space. Oh, post bomb. Straight into the ether there, straight into the matrix.
They have the positioning, they have the ultimates. It's going to be Peps running for cover.
Just getting completely booped around there by the Diva. Is now in a really awkward spot too. So many low health players for Team Peps under gas station right now. But Peps are holding on to this fight, and that should be the second point now, bro.
And that is one thing that Icedom can do on Diva that Hazard would not have been able to just completely cover up Lambda, who, honestly, I could see maybe abandoned their high ground a little bit too early. I know they wanted to get aggressive here, and now I don't know if they can get back to the point. I think you're right. It is definitely going to be the cap. Ziad couldn't be the one to get there, and if he's not up, there isn't going to be a touch. It all came down to Lambda's ability to try and carry the fight, but couldn't confirm the kill on the player in that bottom near the Mega. And with the pressure from Icedom also chasing, swapping now back over towards the Hazard. Now that you don't need to go onto the super high ground of B, and you're just dealing with low high grounds here, Hazard might be the play.
Qadsiah rush for Landon available. The sound barrier for FD God. Checkmate's already dead. There's the rush. But with the kill onto Checkmate, where's your damage coming from? Your husband Lambda picks up a kill. Ken getting out of there. Good little boop. And a Suzu saves Ken's life.
Peps have ultimates here. Let's go. Zerion, hits time. He knows Landon just used low HP here. Lambda could be a target. Needs to be a target.
Dashing in on top of that wall. Landon does end up going down. And there's the sound barrier from both sides. Haku, though, not able to save Landon with his own. And Team Peps might just be able to walk all over this one, in all honesty. They've still got a player advantage here with Landon only just spawning. Ziad on their side of the map too. No self-destruct, so a DMEC here will be disastrous for Qadsiah, but he does get back in time. Another rush coming through, this time on the side of Team Peps as they march on forward. Qadsiah running back to the spawn, hoping this blade is going to be what is required to win this fight, but of course, Lambda snipes FD God, and that's going to be a backup for Team Peps.
Yeah, Icedom too low HP. Zerion might have pulled trigger just to have the extra healing to put Qadsiah away a little bit, pressure them off the payload, but they just didn't have the ability to walk forward without getting shot. And Lambda looking like POTM for me. That one kill onto FD God ruins Team Peps' ability to get any value from the Qadsiah rush. That's a major advantage, God. Yes, this is downfall, but there's so many ways to block it out. So much movement there as well.
Oh, the overclock. Lad, they're in this spawn as well.
That's a little
Proactivity
aggro.
was the word of the day, and they're just continuing to make sure everybody knows what it means.
But you don't get value off that. This is not going to result in any kills. It's not going to result in enough time burnt. I mean, yes, Peps do need to be able to get out of spawn, but I think it's easier for Peps to get out of spawn than Qadsiah to spawn camp there.
This downpour could be disastrous too. Blade ends up coming in for Ken. 1 HP as Icemone just deletes Lambda. Carry down now for Qadsiah. Checkmate still with a blade, and they still got to beat. There's still a chance here after this rush does isolate Zerion.
Peps are running out of options. They're just running out of ultimates here. The downpour, I mean, it could be good, but realistically, Matrix blocks it. Deflect is huge. Deflecting the downpour back into the Hazard is disgustingly good. Sound barrier there. I mean, I don't see enough for Team Peps. They need high value on the next Qadsiah rush.
And they need it desperately. They're 15% away. And with 15 seconds to go, you're hoping you get it online in time before you get deleted. There's the sound barrier, and the downpour does end up connecting, maybe? No, I don't think it connected at all. Blade ends up getting popped by Checkmate, now chasing down the Hazard. Ice extremely low, walls himself in versus the Genji. A nice little teleport there from Zerion. Does end up saving the Hazard's life, but not for long. Disruptor shot kill, and there is the map, or the round, sorry. 2 points, 55.55 meters for Team Peps. And like you said, just run out of gas there. No high impact ultimates connecting.
That actually is partially a C9 maybe. I think Ken just barely missed out on the touch there at the same time as the Qadsiah rush, and that's what was going to have the capability of carrying a little longer. Yes, Icedom did die, but he would have respawned, and if the rest of Peps can sort of continue that fight with the 4 remaining members on top of the Qadsiah rush, it would have been fine. So let's take a look at that. It's double tanks down. Checkmate's low here. Has run out of blade. I think this is actually quite winnable. You have Exodio pop an ult here. All Ken needed to do was touch. Yeah, I'll call it.
God was around the corner too, just onto the left here. Look.
Yeah, I'll certify the C9 on this one because I think this was pretty winnable.
Well, there it is. A C9. Team Peps with a very, a very apparent goal now. Only 2 points there. Couldn't quite get that third cap. A very awkward spot as well to actually have the payload end just in that kind of straightaway. Not quite close to the last point at all. And it might be a tough hold for them if OWCS does manage to get it all that way. But let's jump into a quick OWCS listening for their attack.
You might want to close, Ken.
Yeah. Yeah, they're close.
We are holding close. Just sweep me hard to right, you can be clipped, guys, okay?
Yeah, I can speed you right side.
Can you go now?
Yeah. 3,
Go.
1 Eve ring.
Almost watch.
Kill it.
Back on our hit.
This one.
Search carry one. Search carry one.
Hold on.
Soya.
Hold on, guys. Nice trade. It's 4v3, okay? Nice step there.
Speeding.
It's 4v2, guys, okay? No tank. You didn't touch either. Okay. Nice!
You were in my
40 beam. Holding
We have
top.
nothing.
Man, Labja just continues to deliver on the Sojourn in these neutrals, man.
Do you agree, POTM? I think this is POTM for sure.
Quite worth it, yeah, easily.
The
yeah.
fact that
the mid-fight overclocks, like, yeah, easily.
I mean, the fact that Twisted Minds last year had this guy and Course on the team, we didn't even know Labda could do this last year, that's crazy. He might have even been able to start over Course with this kind of performance. Let's see if he can continue it. It's looking like yes.
Ken dead, I mean, yeah, where's the big touch here? The entirety of PEPS now scurrying to the cave to try and find shelter. Look at this, look how far they're pushing. In fact, a little bit too far for Ziad there, loses mech. Very quick jump off the map though, or a quick death there will be good. FD God comes back, gets a touch for half a second, ends up getting dealt with. Same with Exodial, so that will be the first point. Going over to Qadsiah.
Barely contested. Just to clean up now. Ken, the final member, trying to hold on. 5 minutes just about. What was that, 4:59? Yeah, Ken cost them the extra couple of seconds, but that is the disgusting timing. How long did it take PEPS to get that first point? A lot longer than that. I think they struggled, and now Qadsiah speed running it through. As we have even high ground advantage. It's not even about speed running on A. They even start with high ground advantage from B as well. Has to be fought hard by Icenon.
Yeah, they're not making it easy whatsoever. Look at that. They have to back off. Blade for checkmate. They got Orbital Ray. They got pretty much everything they need to win this next fight. FD God's got the sound barrier though, but Orbital Ray from Landon's going to get used first, but Exodial connects the railgun. Half HP was Landon when he popped that ult. Sound barrier comes from FD God, connects with 4 as Exodial's on a good position, a good off angle, but quickly checked by Ziad, and now the Blade's going to get popped by checkmate, and Labda is just on top of gas station. There's just no escaping this, man. The DPS from Qadsiah open this one up, and they're going to continue this payload roll with Ken, the only survivor from Team PEPS, trying to get away.
But they saw FD God use the beat already, so checkmate knows it's a free beat to come, or free blade to come on through, nothing to really counter it. You have a situation where, honestly, PEPS did a reasonable job of fending off Qadsiah there before the ultimate started to really flow on through. The little bit of Ken stalling on the payload after the fact, and I'm not talking about the A fight anymore, I'm talking about on B. Really did wonders to slow the payload down, force attention away.
Good luck getting value there. Sound barrier saved from Qadsiah. They got the overclock on high ground. There's absolutely no chance you win this fight. At least not this time around. We'll see if this rush is going to be a difference maker. Haku does end up going down to Ice Gnome, chased away, and there's another kill from Zerion. So, okay, for now, a small moment of reprieve for Team PEPS.
You can just probably have seen, not that Labda hasn't done enough, he really has done most of this work for Qadsiah, not to say that the rest of the team hasn't, but Labda would have had to have gotten a kill there to prevent that from happening. You have a Zerion Kitsune rush straight into the point. Ziada's in the middle, that can't stop it by himself. Haku dies momentarily afterwards. And Qadsiah don't have the capability to trade numbers unless Labda's the one just shooting everybody. And unfortunately for them, it didn't happen. So finally, Team PEPS relieve a bit of that pressure. They need a couple more of those fights to start bringing that time bank down significantly.
Ziad gets a cheeky touch there. Attempted for the little back cap, but didn't end up happening. Couple of meters though before that point does end up getting capped though. Haku extremely low. I thought Ice was maybe gonna just jump on him, but Landon was there with the help. High ground control though continues to be an issue for
By the way,
PEPS.
The race here is between FD God and Landon because Qadsiah are waiting for some sort of entry. The entry will either come through from Labda headshotting someone, or
the D-Mac.
It may just be it.
Self-destruct used, of course, doesn't connect with anybody. Manages to get back in med, but now Ziad can play super aggressive knowing that self-destruct is available. FD God trying to amp it up, but here comes the push. Nice little Suzu from Zerion saves FD God's life, gets the sound barrier off and connects with 5. on the high ground control there from our Qadsiah. Still for them. I mean, Team PEPS unable to really fight that one, even with their sound barrier. And now, look at this. Look at how far forward Team PEPS are. Ice and Zerion fighting down that mega health pack, and they're just going to fall for it too. And Labda with a perfect pocket from both supports, Landon and Haku keeping him alive during that fight.
And because the payload is at the end here, they can just cap straight away with no respawners. PEPS might be at a risk of losing very, very soon. Okay, there is enough distance barely on the payload here that we are going to guarantee more fights, but our Qadsiah also got that fairly cheaply. Diva Bomb, which is usually just a remake, a second life for your Diva player. Kitsune Rush, Landon, gone. Nicely played though. 3 ultimates coming online, including the potential for either a tempo beat or more likely to counter Zerion and Ken, but Qadsiah have a lot of ults.
No deflect means it's go time for Exodial. Nice headshot onto Ziad. Suzu comes in, saves the day for the time being, but they're forced all the way back to their spawn. Haku cheekily poking his head out there with a sound barrier.
You notice as well, Haku held the sound barrier. They could have sound barriered for that OC, but they didn't because they want to save it for something else.
Amp speed up, get Labda in a good position. Oh, a headshot.
My God.
Ken disintegrated, and now here comes the push. OWCS looking for more now, but Team PEPS can't give up the ghost just yet. They've got a blade coming back from spawn, but Ken just needs to survive. The payload's still moving though, and the rush guns are coming in. Haku's still holding on to this sound barrier though. There's a blade from Ken, needs to come out at some point. A kill onto Checkmate's good enough. Haku's beat eventually comes in, connects with 4, but with Checkmate dead and a blade available from OWCS, maybe this fight is a little bit more one-sided than we think. Blade popped by Ken, traded though for Zerion. He ends up finding Landon in the back line here, but they're still managing to come up with kills. Landon kills too. Exodial Ken down. A couple of meters to go now for OWCS to finish this one out. Landon fights another. Landon with 3 kills in this fight, and the blade comes back from the spawn. Self-destruct. Absolutely nothing there on the point as OWCS win the series quite cleanly too, 3-0.
And it looked like PEPS might have been able to bring that one back as well, because at the 5 versus 4, Checkmate dies Haku, and the rest of OWCS, they know the blade is online for Ken. They want to counter the blade. That's what Haku was saving the beat for. It was looking disastrous, honestly. With Checkmate down, Haku wanted to actually save Checkmate's life. He went for the beat, couldn't quite save Checkmate's life, and you're thinking, this is done. 4-man beat, and the blade's going to be free from Ken. Surely PEPS just clean up with the blade. Didn't end up happening. Landon carried the end of that fight with a number of nice final blows. With a number of nice final blows, and then OWCS just clutched their way through what was looking like a losing fight. I mean, that is a fight that PEPS cannot afford to lose any day of the week. This is an inexcusable fight to lose, honestly, but beyond that, OWCS were very much favored. So a huge time bag. Payload pushed an extremely far distance. Team PEPS would have had to play quite aggressively to maybe hold on to that final defense a little bit longer. And just the way the map was looking, not just the map, but the entire series, kind of momentum, confidence, and skill display, particularly on Labda, who repeatedly dunked on everybody on Team PEPS, including Exodio, who I think really has a lot more in him. That was not Exodio's best performance, certainly not up to his potential. I've seen him play much better than that. I've seen Exodio be the guy doing what Labda was doing to him in that game. But the roles were reversed here. Labda showed who was really here to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, a little 3-0 there from OWCS, feeling confident. Their proactivity was good. Honestly, quite a clean game. Control, a little close, but the series score begs to differ. A 3-0 from OWCS. We'll jump over to the desk. They can break down the highlights. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to our imaginary desk. Zoe here, joined by Jake and Johnny. And Avril technically already broke down the entire series for us, but you know what? We're just going to regurgitate everything he just said. OWCS phenomenally performed in this one, getting their revenge there. A 3-0 sweep. Very much the opposite of what we've seen in week 1. And it took us all the way to map 3, where we see even Maga-related bans coming in. Let's talk about the compositions we saw though, because there were some differences in the backline that we got to see. Jake, I sensed from our chat in the green room that you were not on board with the God Hands way.
Yeah. I think the Kiri Juno is like a criminal choice in that matchup. Like Brig just does so much, especially in post perk world, where I mean Brig has some of the best perks I think in the game. and is just perfectly suited for this composition. Like having Inspire on your whole team 24/7 is insanely strong. Rally is one of the best ultimates you could ever have in this comp. It's all about instant interactions and like bursting people with stuns. So I think the choice to play carry was a huge mistake. I think like these first two maps were heavily more difficult because of that. But then even in the final map, and honestly, even regardless of the comp, I think, you know, Avral's very right to credit the DPS here. I think Labda in particular, I did not know he had this kind of performance in him.
My God.
I was thinking the same way. Oh, maybe Exodeal is going to be the better Sojourn in this series, but maybe the rest of Qadsiah can make the difference. But no, I mean, Qadsiah was just dominant on every single front in this series.
I've already prepared the apology forms for Labda because I certainly need one. Because going into this stage, I was like, there's so many great hit scan players in this region, and now you're putting so much faith into Labda to be, you know, your hit scan god. And in this series, like you said, Jake, I thought it was going to be Exodeal making the big difference for PEPS and was going to pop off. But Exodeal was pretty quiet, and instead Labda just took over the game. Just an insane performance from Labda, and it's so impressive for this team. I did not expect Labda to come out and, you know, have this incredible game-changing performance, but you know, it helped Qadsiah to get 3-0 here with PEPS. It was really impressive.
I never doubted.
Landing with his 3K here to close it out.
Oh my God.
Gross 3K.
Labda showed these kind of highs though already in like 2023, right? When he won the Overwatch World Cup with the Team Saudi. So like that's already
like
when he
one
put
trick
everyone
back then. And
I know
really
it was
good at Pharah. I knew the Flyers would be in
we
his
know he can
wheelhouse,
hit shots though. So like I'm not awfully surprised to see him like hanging up there, no matter if it's on a different hero. Labda, of course, getting player of the match, very well deserved. This is the kind of firepower we need to see from those DPS lineups.
Yeah,
you got to think about it. You're going to go up against guys like Shockwave, right? You need to be able to hang in a very serious way, and Labda looks like he's that guy right now.
Yeah, we saw, you know, we saw a little bit of Diva as well for this team, and it was interesting how well they played with that. I think this team in general, you know, Labda popped off, and now we've glazed this man enough. Don't worry, there will be more glazed coming later. But like, the team just played well overall. I think Sia tried a little bit of Diva here as well. They tried to spread out, play the off angles, put pressure on Ken on the Genji, stuff like that. And ultimately, that helped Labda find the picks, like here on Sojourn as well. You know, you can see there's Sia playing the off angle on the Diva as well. So they had a couple of styles they brought out there. They didn't just try to like one trick the Malga the entire way. And even on Root as well, you saw Root. Neither team really favoring the Malga, but they still made it work, and Labda still made it work, you know, even if you're not playing an Malga meta. So really impressive by Qadsiah. I think that's a great sign moving forward as well, as this bracket kind of like progresses, because now you're one win away from qualifying to China. But, you know, if you happen to go down to VP, I don't think any of us would be too surprised because VP are that good. But it's a great sign when you have to go up against teams like Twisted Minds, for example. So really promising series for Qadsiah.
Yeah, I mean, they played VP so very close just a few days ago, so they should feel confident even heading into this very match. And now seeing how good they looked on that Maga mirror, and then also outside of it, lots of great signs for Qadsiah. We just talked about the firepower on this very squad, and you got an example of those DPS heroics who dragged them over the finishing line here, Johnny, in a demonstration.
Right. We'll
remote broadcast demonstration.
We'll see if this works.
Happening?
I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll give it a go. My shortcuts. Oh, I'm on the camera too. No, just can we full screen this? But
no, this is
I mean,
Johnny's
okay, the drawing's working. The drawing's working. See, we can highlight the compositions.
Circles,
okay,
squares.
and I can delete it. Yeah, I know shapes. But yeah, it's a 99 to 99 scenario here, pretty much. And Qadsiah are making making the swaps to Tracer and Diva here, just so they can get a touch on the point, right? But what is so crucial about this fight is Xerion has the Kitsune Rush, Exodeal has the overclock here. So Team PEPS are in a great position. They're pushing up here a little bit, try to make it hard for them to touch. We can go ahead and play this one out, really. So we can take a look at what happens. Checkmate's going to get the double blink here and just one clips Exodeal, so you lose your overclock and you trade there, but it's actually a favorable trade. And then Labda comes in with the overclock of his own. The Kitsune Rush is out, but it's not going to matter. Labda's just going to pop off here, finds one, finds two, and Qadsiah find a way to get back into this map. They ultimately win the entire map, you know, because this is them getting their second round of Samoa. But this was just like an insane scenario where both damage players come out, pop off, and win a fight they really shouldn't have. This should have been Team PEPS in my mind closing out Volcano here. So just a great fight by both Checkmate and Labda, and another reason to glaze them and talk about how good they were this series. So really impressive. And I guess the illustration worked, so there you go.
Dude, that one clip is disgusting.
insane.
I think nothing else, none of the other things on the play can even really happen without that one clip, because Exodio is going to be overclocking from a really safe position. You're going to have to recontest in the overclock. It's brutal to try to fight that. But Checkmate with the just heroics. I mean, even Exodio he never thinks that's going to happen. Not in a million years is he getting one clip right there, and then it just happens and everything falls apart. That's a gut punch for Peps on map 1 for sure.
Yeah, you can play as good as you want, and then your strat can be on point. Like if you get clipped like that, that's that. So it's rough out there going up against a team like that. Let's take a look at our bracket, our updated playoffs bracket, to see where we stand after 2 matches played in the upper bracket. That's right. Peps and Gen G falling down into the lower bracket, where they will be going up against the Ultimates and Twisted Minds respectively. Now VP and Qadsiah are going to get a rematch from the match we just saw as their last match in the regular season. That was a 5-map banger. I hope to see more of that. Although that was not in a Maga meta. Will it matter though? Can they play close again?
I mean, potentially, I think the Maga meta is a good thing for Qadsiah. I mean, with how they're playing, with Lambda showing this kind of performance on Sojourn, this could be a positive factor for them. I think, honestly, all 3 of these matches are pretty interesting, because as much as Twisted Minds and the Ultimates, they haven't had the stage they were hoping for. These teams really wanted to be kind of the top 2 teams in the region, and they're down in 5th and 6th. Still, this is the moment for redemption here. This is the lower bracket, and it is do or die. But by the same token, there's a lot of veteran players on these teams. I don't think they're going to be crumbling under the pressure. And for Gen G and for Peps, there's a question: can you continue to maintain that performance? If Kevster and Kai can have a big game, that's a scary match, right? As much as the Ultimates haven't been up to their par, what you'd expect from them, if I'm going to that server, I'm not liking my odds up against Kevster Kai on Genji Sojourn.
Yeah, I mean, we're for some great matches over there. But, I'm already thinking back to the Stockholm World Finals a little bit. It was a few months ago at this point. Some interesting results there. Might be indicative of how some of these players will perform in the Maga meta, but we can just speculate. We'll have to see these teams how they perform.
That's literally what we're being paid for. We speculate.
To speculate,
make bold assumptions, and then we're proven wrong time and time again. That's what I love about my job. Guys, I also love hanging out with you, but as much as I do love it, it is time to say goodbye, because we are done with everything EMEA for the day. I'm gonna see both of you back tomorrow, I assume, unless you're somehow finding a way to wiggle yourself out.
For the NA show, which is today also.
That's right. I literally somehow thought you're casting for whatever reason, because it's just been my thing that I say goodbye to you guys.
We do it all.
That's right. They're not casters. Never mind. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm saying goodbye to absolutely no one, actually. Jack and Arrow. There we go. We said goodbye to Jack and Arrow. That's what this was all about.
There we go.
See, this is what it does to me. Not having an analyst desk for an entire stage has broken.
We miss you too, Zoe. It's good to be back. All right.
I'm just alone. I'm usually talking to myself. It's rough.
We're here to talk with you now.
Yeah, that's right. I have friends for at least 4 days.
Until after the playoffs, then we don't know about it.
Until right after the playoffs. Love that for myself. Yeah, but we are going into a quick break. But Jake and Johnny will still be with me when we're coming back. The PTSD is showing clearly.
Not going anywhere, Zoe. Don't worry. We're right here.
Thank you. I feel safe. I'm safe. This is a safe space. For me, anyway, not for our bots, which are going to battle once again. And because this is the Stage 1 playoffs, we're raising the stakes in our Battle of the Bots as well in our break. Our production team drafted teams of 3 heroes comprising of 1 DPS, 1 tank, and 1 healer. And they're going to compete in a 8-team single elimination bracket, all playoffs long. Sheesh.
Where do I get my present for this, man? I'm invested now.
Channel points.
All right.
Yeah, channel points. Yeah, channel points in chat. So make sure to bet them all on your favorite teams. Up first, we've got our observer Bradley's team versus the community's team, and we asked you on socials, of course, who you wanted on the most picked heroes. Were Bastion, Jungle Queen, and Anna. Actually, how will they fare? Well, let's find out in this very first brawl in our Battle of the Bots. And on the other side of this one, we will bring to you all things NA. So don't go anywhere, and we see you right after this.